go right on ahead. Phyllis, networking expert, coffee time. Let's all welcome Phyllis.
All right. I am so excited to be here. You know, money, many years ago, we all knew that you had that relationship. You held it, you touched it, you felt it. You had a brand new bill that smelled like money. You would go to the bank, cash your paycheck, and put maybe in the bank what bills you were going to write a check out for. And then the rest of it was grocery. You get cash for grocery shopping, you know, gas in your car and all that before debit cards and, you know, and all this. And so what's happened over a course of time with debit cards, credit cards, automatic banking, and all that is everybody seems to have lost that relationship with money. You no longer touch it, feel it. You know, you can remember too, you had a $20 bill. I don't want to break my $20 bill. I'm going to spend it, you know? And so you wouldn't do that. As long as you could, you held on to it. So nowadays people have seemed to have lost touch with their money. They've lost that relationship with their money. Everything is swipe the card, or it comes, your bills come automatically out of your, you know, your checking account or savings account. And sometimes you don't even realize what you're spending your money on. I had one gentleman when we were working with them, we asked him, how many subscriptions do you have? You know, Hulu, Netflix, those type. And so he started looking, and he's like, I have 10, but we don't watch 10. But again, he wasn't paying attention because they automatically, every month, they take that payment out. You know, so he ended up canceling 8 of them. That saved him a lot of money that month. You know, some people think, oh, I live paycheck to paycheck, I have no extra. So what I do, my lead partner, Jessica, and I, what we do is we do a free analysis for you with our program. We have a software system. And I always say it's like nothing else out there. It totally blew my mind the first time I looked at it, because I went, huh? You know, because I'm not that techie person, as LaDonna's figuring out. Do you have this, Phyllis? Do you have this, Phyllis? Okay, give me time. I'm not techie. So anyway, my software system, we take your debt and we ask you, come to the table with all of your debt. And it has to be to the penny. If you have a mortgage payment, what do you owe to the penny? What's the interest rate to the decimal point? What's your minimum payment to the penny? So then we put all this into the system, but we also do a very deep dive into your expenses. How much do you spend on groceries, gas for your car, electric, you know, all that stuff goes into it. And that's when a lot of people start realizing, oh my gosh, why am I spending money on this? Why am I spending, you know? And so often they're really not living paycheck to paycheck when you start helping them with the budget part also of the money. So what the system does, we put everything into this software system. And then the next meeting you have with us, we sit down and we show you how much money the software is going to save you. Now, it works with just the money you have, no extra. So $25 a month, if you have leftover, like $50 a month you have leftover, that'll be like your sweet spot, your discretionary income. The software system takes a 3-month picture of your expenses and your debt. The first month, the software might say, you know what, I don't need that $50 yet, put it in your savings. And the second month, it might say, you know, I still don't need that $50, put it in savings. The third month, it comes back and it says, I want to take out of that $100 that I had you put in savings, I'm going to take $62.01. And you're going to make that payment on this, say, credit card on this day. And so we tell you, don't round up, don't round down. You pay the exact amount to the penny. So when you make that $62.01 payment on the day the software tells you, you'll see that you canceled out maybe $100, $150 in interest. The software has algorithms in it, and it knows the sweet spot of when your banking institution is getting ready to charge you that interest. That's what kind of blew me away. I'm like, wow, you know, because people will pay highest to lowest interest, or they'll pay lowest interest, the highest interest, or as I say, you throw a dart at it, hopes it hits right. You know, people say, well, I make an extra payment every month. I'm glad you make an extra payment every month. That's great. But do you know the day to pay it on? Do you know the amount to pay? Because that's what the software tells you. So a lot of people, when you say you make an extra payment every month, what is your bank doing with that extra payment? Sometimes what your bank is doing is they're putting that extra payment on the back end of your mortgage. and you're really not saving the interest that you think you're saving, or bringing down, the amount you owe. Another thing that kind of really blew me away, because I don't have credit cards. My husband and I learned early on, credit cards was not our thing because everything was an emergency. So we cut them up, paid them off, and we never had them. But what I learned is on your bill, and a lot of people don't really look at it. So if you owe $5,000 on a credit card, depending on how the bank has it structured, at say 28% interest, it could take you almost 30 years to pay off that $5,000. Because if your payment is say $100 minimum payment, well, they're taking maybe $80 of that 100 for interest. So you're only putting 20 on to your principal of that credit card. Well, paying $20 a month on the principal, you're never going to get it paid off because the interest keeps accruing. So there's so many things I learned when I went through this. My story, I partnered with a company called Market America 8 years ago, and I partnered with them for the natural health. I had walked away from a corporate job. By the way, I did not have a plan B. When I walked away abruptly on a Friday. I looked at my boss and I said, "You win, I lose. I'm done. 29 years, put me in for retirement. I'm leaving." And he's like, "Do I get a notice?" "No, here's the key to the office." And I got my car, and halfway home, I went, "I have no income. I have no benefits. I have no nothing." We had just opened a restaurant. So you don't think I was stressed to the max? Very stressed. Restaurant business, whether you have an income or not, restaurant business will stress you out regardless, And so then my husband got sick, and I just started my business, and so I really didn't have that income. And so when you are stressed, sometimes you make the wrong financial decisions. And I did that. I made the decision to refinance our home. So we started all over again with a 30-year mortgage at the age of 58. Not good. That means I was never going to retire. Now, we were lucky in the fact that we had no car payments, no credit cards and all that. We just had a mortgage. So when this part of it came along and they asked me to look at it, I went, no. I am not a math person. I don't do math. I'm not financial. I can't do any of that. So they said, just look at it. And so anyway, when I looked at the program, I was like, oh my gosh. And Jessica said, let me run your numbers. I said, well, all I have is a mortgage, and I don't owe, I only owed at the time $85,000. So what can it do for me? She goes, let me run it. So we put my information in there. My house is going to be paid off in 7 years. We're saving $49,000 in interest. That's money in my pocket, not the bank's pocket. My house was not due to be paid off until the year 2056, and it's now going to be paid off in 7 years, using $150 discretionary. Now I see retirement. Now my husband and I could go, oh, here we go. We can actually get out and do things, go places. Like I said, just be able to enjoy life in retirement. I'm sorry. So that's my story. Along with the natural health products, I feel blessed every single day that I get to wake up and talk to people and help them with their debt. The software is so good that when we run your analysis, it will show you the exact month, day, and year that you can be out of debt. Not around this time, not maybe, not somewhere in the future, exact. And we warranty that date, of course, provided that you work the program. So everybody knows somebody who has debt. Rain has to come to Florida soon to wash away my allergies. So everybody knows this, that person that has debt, but it also works with student loan debt. Student loan debt is a biggie right now in this country. We're working with a young gentleman who somebody so graciously told him, you don't have to pay your student loan debt because Biden's going to wipe it out. So for 2 years, he didn't pay it. That's 2 years worth of. So what happened is in October this year, he now has to start paying $650 a month. He doesn't have it. Where's he going to get it? And this is what people are finding with their student loan debt. My doctor looks like he's maybe, I don't know, late 40s. So one day when I was in there, I said, after we got done, I said, we're going to talk a minute. And he said, you are? He said, what what do you want to know? And I said, how much student debt you have left? And he looked at me and I went, you know, from the look on your face, you got student loan debt. He said, I do. He said, I still have $80,000. I said, great, let me help you. You know, he's been paying on the student loan debt. And at first he was like, no. And I said, well, you know, my insurance makes me come see you every 6 months, whether I want to or not. I said, so I'll be here in 6 months. And, oh, by the way, what's the question you think I'm going to ask? How's that $80,000 doing? So again, everything is confidential. All right. So I told him it's kind of quirky that I'm your patient. You know, he's my doctor. So I said, I get you on Zoom. I introduce you to Jessica. I introduce Jessica to you. I get off of the Zoom. You guys do the thing. I don't know anything. It's all confidential. You know, so don't ever be afraid that, oh, the information is going to get out. No, it's all confidential. This program in our company, we look at it right now as the sleeping giant. Okay. So there's about 100 of me that are running around the country and Canada, talking to as many people as we can talk to, trying to get the word out about the program. Because it really truly is that sleeping giant. Now, if you're paying attention to the news, because you know the news loves to either A, not tell you the truth or scare you to death, credit card debt has reached an all-time high. For the first time ever in this country, credit card debt has now reached $1 trillion. It's a lot of debt. Now, who do you think loves that? The banking institutions, because they're making all that interest. And interest rates went up again on your house. They're somewhere between 7.25 and 7.5, depending on, I think the way my mortgage friend explained it, like depending on maybe your credit, this, that, whatever, you know, but still, that's a lot of money to pay for interest on a home. Now, people have said, oh, you know, your financial people say, you know what, many years ago, interest rate was that. Yes. But back when interest rates, when I got married, you know, in 1977, the interest rates were, I don't know, 18, 20% under Carter. My husband and I couldn't buy a house. We were 18 years old. The difference, though, is we weren't looking at $300,000 and $400,000 and $500,000 homes. You know, when the interest rate was that high back then, your homes were $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, maybe $60,000. Big difference on what you pay on interest versus a $500,000 home today. It just, you know, it keeps going on and on with the debt in this country. A lot of people are putting their life on their credit cards. I can't afford to buy groceries, so they're charging it. A rule of thumb if you own a credit card is if you can't see it at the end of 30 days, it should not go on your credit card. Like groceries should not go in there. Eating out should not go in there. But people are doing it because they have no money. So this is where we come in to help them with it. Now, we don't tell you you have to give up that Starbucks coffee, LaDonna. We just add it to your expense so you see what you're paying. So a short story, we had a young lady, and she said, if you tell me I can't drink my Starbucks every day, then I'm not going to do the program. We said, we don't tell you that. So when we were doing her expenses and we put $225 in there, she said, what's that? We said, that would be your Starbucks. She said, no. And we said, you told us you spend $7.50 every day on a Starbucks coffee, 7 days a week, times 30 equals the 225. And she's like, huh? Again, you swipe. You pay no attention to how much it truly is costing you. 3 months later, she let us know that she now makes coffee at her house. She'd rather use that $225 on something else. My program also works with, you know what? Life happens, because it really does. So a friend of mine who's going through this, she had just refinanced their home. Again, just starting over with 30 years mortgage, $20,000 credit card debt. They had 2 car payments. On her way home, her husband's car blew up and she goes, I have to buy a new car. We said, no problem. But before you go buy that car, find out what kind of car do you want? How much is it going to cost you? What's your interest rate going to be and what your payment's going to be? Put that into the computer. It will recalculate your get out of date debt. It'll also let you know if you can really afford that or not. So now when you go in to buy a car, the first thing they ask you is, what do you want your payment to be? Never talk about the interest rate. They never talk about the price of the car. It's always what do you want that car payment to be? And they'll make sure they make that car payment for you, but forget to tell you that you're now paying 8, 9, 10% interest. And oh, by the way, your loan is now 7, 8 years. And like most things, the warranty runs out the year before you pay your car off, you know. But now with the software, when you walk in to buy that car, you're armed with good financial information. And she said, we went in there and the guy was like, what do you want your payment to be? She goes, no, I'm going to tell you what I want. This is what I'm paying for the car. This is what my interest rate is going to be. And this is how much my payment is going to be. You know, so it helps you better make those financial decisions. The program, like I said, is phenomenal. It's a software, so therefore it is web-based, and you can bring it up on your phone. You can bring it up on your laptop. You can bring it up on your PC, and it's a one-time fee. You own it for the rest of your life till the day you die. Now, upgrades, you know, software systems are always got upgrades, and especially in our market because the financial institution is changing daily, you know. So all those upgrades, though, are free. We don't charge you. And I also tell everybody, you know what, when you buy the software system, it comes with me for about a year. Aren't you lucky? Because I'm going to make sure that you're being successful in it. Are you working it? Are you, you know, do you have questions? If I can't answer those questions, then we go to our tech support, and they are phenomenal. Like the day I accidentally hit a button and thought I wiped everything out, and I was like, and I called them and they had no problem. And they, whatever in the back office that they did, all of a sudden, all my information was up there again. You know, so the tech support system is just phenomenal. Our program is good in the United States and Canada. Now, if you know somebody that lives, like, say, in the Caribbean, whatever, it has to be an American U.S. bank in order for us to be able to do it. I have one gentleman, he wants to know why we're not in Australia. And I said, you have to go to your government. They won't let us in yet. Apparently, they still want y'all in debt. You know, so we're working on Australia, you know, to be able to make that the next, hopefully, country that we can get into with the software. And like I said, it's absolutely mind-blowing. Even if you don't have debt, we will sit down with you and do a free not a free analysis, but we'll do a demo for you to show you how everything works. So when you meet that person or that family member or that friend that you know is still, you know, has that debt, we can work with them. It's active debt, meaning you're not in collections, you're not in a like a debt reduction type program. It has to be your active current debt that you're paying on. And that's about it. I know always a lot of questions. I am so blessed, and I thank you, LaDonna, for letting me get in here and talk and explain it. It's become my mission. Matter of fact, my mission at the beginning of the year in January was to save $2 million in interest by the end of the year. I'm a month behind, but I am halfway there.
Hey, good for you, Phyllis.
Yeah.
And what way to make goals. I love it. You must make goals to achieve and feel the achievement. So with that, who has a question for Phyllis? Comments? Okay. Yes, Brenda.
Mine isn't a question, it's a comment. I want to thank you, LaDonna, for introducing me to Phyllis, because you connected me with Phyllis. And then Phyllis, I think we have to tell them the story about the event where you asked for the help.
You know, I was on a selling on the spot. And so when it came back around, you know, for the second offer, I was like, you know what? I don't have a second offer, but I do have an ask. And I've been trying to connect with this lady who's a journalist for Business Insider. Why? Because she writes all these articles with people on student loan debt. And so I threw the name out there and all this. And then all of a sudden, like not 30 seconds later, Brenda's like, I can help you. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And so Brenda and I we've Zoomed a couple of times. She's working on it. She's introduced me to some other people, and it's just been just wonderful. And I always say, you know, just throw it out there to the universe. Whatever you ask is, just throw it out there, you know. And, you know, she's also helped me with some other websites to get into, to meet other people, you know, to be able to meet them. And it's just been great, you know.
That is awesome. That is what connections, networking, and collaboration is all about. And you know what? That is what helps build our business. Because if you're building it one person, it takes longer than if you have a team of people helping you build your business. And thank you, Brenda, and I remember on that conversation coming up, now that you have brought it to my attention, I remember when it happened.
And the other thing that you did, LaDonna, is like, I had a meeting with Phyllis after that because I wanted to know more about why she wanted the introduction and what was happening. And for you and Abby and Dar, the exciting news is Phyllis is joining our community, my community as well. And she's going to be doing some presentations, some workshops, some master classes on this debt information for people in our community as well. Joe, we would love to have you join the community with us. There's lots of great people there. If you want more information, just let me know. But thank you, LaDonna, because you did this.
Yes.
Awesome.
And
I love it.
Brenda is going to be hopefully coming to Florida in November, and she's about maybe 3.5, 4 hours from where I live. And we're going to try to figure out how we can meet in person.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep.
I love that. I love that. So let me tell you what, and this just came out of the blue. I did not ask my daughter. My daughter has been a single mom to my oldest 2 grandsons since the oldest one's been like 5. And even before then, their dad really wasn't in their life continuously. So she's really always been mom and dad, so one income. She's done very well, but sometimes things tighten. Even though she makes really great money, the economy has gotten so bad. And of course, now the boys are older, they need cars. She wants to provide that. And me and Papa help, of course, but she's trying to cut back. And she said, Mom, I don't know what else to cut back on. Well, while the oldest one was in Mexico, she cut off the TV. Well, he figured it out last night. An explosion happened. I'm like, okay, let's chill out. Let's rethink this. So come to find out, he can connect to my TV from his phone in a whole nother town, connect and view it on their TV. So our direct TV will let him connect from his phone, and then his phone will put it on the TV. So we did not realize that till last night, but we said, try it, because it does say you can give it to more than one household. Because, you know, Netflix and all them, they have stopped doing that now. We all shared. I paid for one, my daughter paid for one, my son-in-law paid for one, my other daughter paid for one. Well, now we all had to get our own. I said, well, let's get your phone out and go through your bank account. Because, you know, nobody gets statements and go through it now. She just goes through it on her phone. I said, what are all these Google charges? Because they have iPhones. Well, I don't know what that $29 is for. The $2.99 and that $2.99 and that $2.99 is for extra storage for photos. Well, there was a $27 charge. When we went through it for the month of July, she had like $129 of Google charges that she truly has no idea where they come from. Now, does that mean one of the boys are downloading something on their phone and not realizing it costs money? Maybe she's downloading something that she doesn't realize it's costing money. What is it? I said, well, you see this 1-800 number next to it on your bank account. You call them, and then they have little codes here on the side. Give them those codes. And they will tell you what it is. And if you don't want it, need it, love it, whatever, you get rid of it. Because you know what? Every day I check my bank account, every morning. I don't know why. It's just a habit I've gotten into. I check my bank account every morning. It never fails at least once a week. I have a charge that I have no freaking clue what it is. Same thing with my PayPal. I don't care if it's $5.99, it's my $5.99. I don't want to give it away. Now, sometimes I get on there and I realize, oh, that is something I need and that is something I subscribe to, but it doesn't have that name next to it. And it confuses me. I don't like it when companies do that. Give me the name. I want to know what the name is. You know, that's like going to Walmart and buying groceries for $300 and then it comes up there as, you know, B&B Club or something. I'm calling on it because I don't know what it's for. Because who uses a registry anymore? Does anyone use a registry for their bank accounts?
My husband, he's the only one in the world I know. He still writes a check. He pays the mortgage. He writes a check. He will not do online banking. He's like, no. And I said, you know what? You're paying it. Have at it.
And you know what? With that said, the bank, I know from my bank, I don't know if everyone's bank, when you open a new account, they don't even give you free checks anymore. You have to pay.
You get a couple.
You can't even get a temporary check anymore. They will not provide it. But, you know, I can't remember the last time I have written a check. I mean, it's been years because everything you can pay online. Well, there's pros and cons to it. They get it right away or within 24 hours. That's great. But guess what? People also charge. I don't know how many times, like when I changed my car insurance, seems to be the phenomenal ones I have issues with because they keep going up. So I have to change insurance companies to get a cheaper one. Well, it never fails, even though I cancel, they'll come on and both of them will charge my account. And then I have to go in and argue with the one that should have canceled. Those are things you want to catch right away. Last month, I went into not my personal, and I don't know why they did this. It was my business account. And it said I was overdrawn $3,000 and something dollars. I'm like, what the hell? I've never paid anything that in years that pricey. The last time was the riding lawnmower. But it wasn't a debit card where I went into the Tractor Supply and bought something. It wasn't like I went into Walmart, nothing like that. It was like a whole. So I called the bank. Well, Chase Bank had put a hold on my bank account. And I said, I don't have anything with Chase Bank. And she said, well, I called Legal Shield and said, oh my God. And come to find out, someone had taken out a $2,000 credit card in my name 4.5 years ago. With the fees and everything, it's like $3,100. So Chase had filed it, went to court on it, everything, never went to my address. It went to a P.O. box, which I've never had. And so, but fortunately, they only got my, because there's never a lot of money in my business account, just what I need to, you know, because I always withdraw and put in my personal when I pay myself, because my husband had gotten paid the very next day. And it took me like 3 days to clear that up. 3 days to clear that up. So that's why it's so important to check on your money. It's your money. What if I wouldn't have checked that? It could have sat there and made things go back. And, you know, fortunately, I found it. I was really upset the bank didn't call me. Well, we sent you a letter. Yes, I got the letter 6 days later. You know, so it's important to know where your money is and how you're spending it. Phyllis and her partner, her upline, I don't know what you call it, affiliate, they showed me how to pay off my house in 10 years. And we've only been living here 7. And I was only going to pay like very little. And that's really the only, I mean, we have one car payment. I think most people may have that. We have 2 credit cards we don't usually use. And if we do use it, we pay it off at the end of the month. It's for travel. So the house is really what we have. And just for less than $100 that we already had in our, you know, going into the bank, it was going to help that phenomenal. If that's phenomenal. So, and our interest rate's not real high on our house. It's only like 3% because it's a VA loan and we bought it 7 years ago. Now in our area, Phyllis is correct. You can't, even with immaculate credit, interest rate on the house here, 7.5 with immaculate. My daughter, my grandson wrecked his car. So they totaled it. So my daughter went to get a new loan. Instead of the 2.5% interest that she got on his old car, she has to pay 7.5 interest now, 7.1 something. Because, you know, he works, he goes to school, he needs his car, and he can't get it yet. He's only 17. but we're hoping that it will drop and then she can refinance the car again. And she has over 800 score credit, immaculate credit, and still over 7.5%, 7%. So, so Abby, do you have anything that you want to chime in on? Anything you learned, anything that stood out that Phyllis talked about today?
Well, I had a chat with Phyllis a short time back. I can't remember how far, but I would love to do it. It's just not in our wheelhouse at this moment. However, I did learn from it, the chat, and now I have a bank account which allows me to do my business stuff,
right,
and keep it separate from my personal. The Royal Bank would not allow me to do online purchases, which I do for my clients and customers. I have to do online purchases, and that account didn't let me. So now I'm able to keep the business 100% separate from the personal. And that was something I learned from the chat I had with Phyllis a while back. And I think that the service is a great idea. And hopefully one of these days soon, I'll be able to sign up with Phyllis's plan.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
For the first time in many years, we have a savings account. I never paid bills. Okay. My husband always did. I even had this wonderful rule. I don't know how to try it. He who pays the bill gets the mail. I never got the mail. My husband's like, you drive right by the mailbox. I don't pay the bills. Why should I get the mail? Right? Isn't that a great rule? And so you're him nuts. He's like, and I said, oh, well, it is what it is. And I had a good job. I made good money when I worked at my corporate job. Spending money was not an issue. And he would get so aggravated because I come home like on Friday and I'd throw a couple of receipts, on the table here. You need to take it out of the checkbook. He's like, you don't even look and see what you spend. Nope. I just bought it. I knew I had the money. I buy it. But when things changed and my husband got sick and I'm paying the bills, okay, I didn't know budgeting. And that was something that this program not only helped us with the mortgage payment, but it taught me the budgeting part. And it's not cookie cutter. It is tailor made to each individual. So on the budget part, like some people just have one line item saying $2,000 they spend a month for expenses, power, gas, food, whatever. My brain can't work that way. Mine is actually detailed. I have a line for groceries. So $50 or $500 a month for groceries. Well, if I go to the store and I buy a gallon of milk for $5, I come home and I subtract $5 from that grocery. Got to come from somewhere. And so that's how I have stayed on track, because I've got maybe 22 line items of everything detailed. But again, that's how my brain works. But that's what I like about this. It's not cookie cutter. We can design it any way you want with your expenses and everything, and but it's helped me so much be able to get on track, actually open up a savings account and actually have money in my savings account. And this, in the end of this month, we go to Greensboro, North Carolina for our convention. And probably for the first time again in several years, I am going without worrying about money.
That's awesome.
It's because it's making me save that money, put that money in savings. And, because I told it, this is what I need to save for. This is how much the trip is going to cost me. This is what I have to save for. So on top of it telling me about paying the house payment, it also is telling me, okay, so between now and August, you got to move this much money into savings. So every month it tells me, put it in savings, put it in savings. Because I had extra money. I was spending it because I didn't know how to budget.
And Phyllis, you bring up a great point, because when my girls were younger, before my husband started making great money out of college, because when he graduated college for his engineer degree, I think Texas Instruments hired him in at maybe $12 an hour. That was way, 35 years ago, which was great money then. Well, back then, I would take literally, even before we had kids, I would take a calculator to the grocery store with me. Have you ever done that to try to stay in your budget, make sure you didn't outspend? Now, embarrassing, I go to buy groceries and I just go till my heart's content. No worries. I'm glad I can do that, but I'm kind of embarrassed that you said that. Why am I not keeping track? Why am I not trying to stay in that budget? But you know what? As soon as we walk in the grocery store, literally, there's a $50 bill spent just on dog food, dog treats, and toothpaste, literally $50. My husband said, how did we spend $280 at Walmart? Well, just on the toothpaste you bought, dog food and dog food treats, it's a $50 bill because it's went up so much. Food has went up so much. You know, toilet paper now that I used to buy for $5 a huge pack is now $15 a huge pack. I mean, it's ridiculous. So I do need to get back into that budget when it comes to, that's where I spend money, is at the grocery store. So I try not to go but once a month, and I send Big Daddy to get it, but he does the same thing.
Well, you know, milk last year when my granddaughter was 2, I swear she thought we had a cow in the backyard that freely gave the milk. And of course, during this time where she was all into milk was $5 and something a gallon. I'm like, I was buying 2 gallons a week. That's $40 a month coming out of that budget. It's because it's got to come from somewhere, you know?
What a great eye opener, though.
Yeah. And so I said, okay, fine, we'll take it out of the food budget, you know, and so I started subtracting. I also was bad at when I walked in to get that milk, I walked out with, you know, $50, $70, whatever. Now it's like I have on my phone this little note thing. Before I leave, I write down exactly what I want at the grocery store, and I walk in there, and then that's what I buy. You know, and nothing else. Because, you know, and then of course Dixie, we've gotten her now to where she eats healthy foods, you know. So the other day I was leaving, she goes, you going grocery shopping? And she goes, can I tell you what I want? And I'm like, I'm afraid to ask, what do you want? You know, and it was bananas, strawberries, blueberries, black, you know. I said, you want me to buy the whole produce section? Well, you know, that right there, and I will never deny her that, but right there, that's probably $50 worth of fruit and vegetables and everything that she wanted. You know,
blackberries and raspberries here near me is almost $8 for a small little package. I'm like, dang. Joe, did you pick up anything eye-opening today out of Phyllis's talk?
Well, I can vouch, because every time I go on a family outing, they love my fresh fruit salad. My husband spends $50 for all of the fruit that I put in my fresh fruit salad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I own my house outright. I think I've actually had to connect with Phyllis before. I have a car payment, and I have my basic bills. But I will say my husband is the old school. He does everything by check. I do everything online. And I will say this, and I actually put it in the chat. Normally I would not check my bank account every day. But there's so many scammers out there that I literally check it for that reason. And it's a good thing that I did, because and whenever I see something that's just not right there, I'll go to the bank, I'll get a new debit card. So I don't have a credit card, I have a debit card. So everything's done by debit. And yeah, I've had charges on there that just totally weren't right. And I fought them. But yeah. But
yeah, we stay on top of your money. It's your money. You worked hard for it.
Yeah. I just changed my card.
I don't care if it's $2. Dang it, it's my $2 and I want it. I want to keep it for me. If I want to give my money away, I have $2, like daughters, that I can give money away every day and they'll laugh and smile, you know, but not to complete strangers. Brenda, I think you had your hand up.
Yeah. When you were talking about grocery shopping, I'm a horrible impulse buyer. When I go through the grocery store, I impulse buy all kinds of things, and then I get home and, oh, it was on sale. And he's like, yeah, but we already have 7 of them. So now what I do is I don't even go into the store to do my grocery shopping anymore. I do the online shop. I make my list according to the things that are running out. I do look at the sales just to see if I missed anything. But before I can click buy on something that's on sale, I have to go and check in the kitchen and see if we have any of it already. And it's really made a difference. I mean, still, groceries have become so expensive. We're still looking at a grocery bill of like $100, even though it's for 2 people. It makes me crazy. I don't know how things got so expensive. But if you want to use butter on your bread, then you're paying like $6 now for a pound of butter, which is just.
And when eggs were like 8 something.
Oh, that's so funny. Butter and bread. You mean?
And eggs were 8 something a dozen. Yeah. Butter, eggs, and milk.
Yeah. I sound like my dad, but I remember when butter was less than $1, but you can't find butter for less than $1 anyplace now. Not
or
even when it's
for 99 cents a dozen. That wasn't that long ago. You can't do that now. But
that's why I laugh with my granddaughter, because during the time the prices on eggs and butter and milk was when she was really eggs every day, milk and and I'm like, why do you have to eat the most expensive 3 things? Can you not pick something else, child? But she loves eggs. And I will never deny that child anything. It's just that, but now I have that budget where I can do it. I feed 5 people. And so I spend roughly $550 a month in groceries. So when you are feeding that many people and, you really have to do that budget. And I'm like you, Brenda, but I've learned I have my list. I either shop online, not for my fruits and meat, because I want to pick that out, but all my non-perishable stuff, I shop online, and then I go in and I pick out my own meats and fruits and vegetables. And it really has helped me stay on track.
Yes. My youngest daughter, she goes online to do her shopping for everything but produce, similar to Phyllis. She goes to a different store, but she goes and picks up her groceries, and it has saved her, she said, for the 3 of them, about $90 a month just by doing that. But she says when she goes over to the other store to get her produce, she has to be like, Mom, I just go to the produce section and then I go check out, because I know I'm going to pick up other things if I don't. But she wants to get her produce because it's fresher. Sometimes Walmart is not as fresh. And, she didn't used to, and this is another thing, and I'm not saying anything about anything, but I'm just saying what she did. She would not shop at Walmart because it's a big box store, and she wanted to shop local. She wanted to shop at the smaller stores, but it's gotten so expensive. She can't do that anymore. She has to shop at Walmart, The baby started preschool. We put him in preschool and we help, but we're not going to do it all. So they had to, let me tell you what, preschool is very expensive. Mm-hmm. And he started last year, 2 days a week, and it cost him $400 a month. So now he's got to go full time. So it's going to be even more. But again, that kicked in. So she had to cut somewhere. Dar, is there anything that you want to say real quick before we go?
Just that it was all very interesting to hear, and stuff that'll be in the back of my mind now every time I go shopping. Abby does the bill paying, so as far as that goes, that's her department. So I'm with you on that one, Phyllis. Don't check the door. Yeah. So put me in a room full of numbers and I'll just go insane. So but for me, with marker, pen, paper, scissors, glue, I'm happy.
Well, make sure everyone saves the chat, because there's some really good and interesting things in the chat. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here today. Please take a screenshot of yourself, or maybe of all of us, and go to your social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever you go, and comment, and everyone comment on that post. And also go to our members section that you're all in, and put something in the chat as well. And remember, we do have our affiliate program. If you have not went in on the website and signed up for the affiliate program. Now, unlike some companies that you're an affiliate with, you will never have to chase me to be paid. You will be paid each and every month. I will not skip it automatically. If you go into your into the affiliate program, guess what? It will even show you who brought you in and how much LaDonna owes you and what day you're going to be paid on. So you will never have to worry about that. My word, my name. I'm here to tell you that on recording. Because that's been a lot of going on right now in the area of what we do. So I want to make sure my word is good to you. Please invite people. Now, I chose $20.23 a month for the month of August because it's 2023. I give a lot for that $20, as you can see. Market.
I was wondering about the 23 cents. I'm going, that's weird. I never made the connection 2023.
Yes, 2023. I wanted to make it affordable for everyone. But you know what? If you have a friend that just wants to come one time to one of our events and check it out, of course, let me know and we will get them in for free. I
have somebody I want to invite into it. I'd like her to try it out. So I give her a gift code or a promo code or
yes. The code, the gift code is gifted, just so that everyone knows. But I always want them to go and register so that I have a tally of who's coming, the backgrounds are done. And two, I like to go in and look and see what they do so that I can be a little bit aware, what they're doing. So yeah, please invite. I want us to get larger and larger and grow. And anytime you have suggestions, just email me, comment, do something, because our environment is for you. We want to grow and prosper together. That is what I want. So, and I'm sorry I kept you 2 minutes late. I hope that I will see you guys. Go and register for Throwback Thursday. Joe will be on. She is going to be our guest speaker tomorrow for Throwback Thursday. And she has a lot of exciting words to say and changes and ways to help us. And you're going to say, why is she coming on Throwback Thursday when we're learning about business? Well, I'm going to give you a sneak peek. You have to feel good about yourself. So that means those girls have got to feel good and comfy. So that's right.
Just picture before in the 1950s and where it is today.
Yes. So let's get invited. Invite people. Phyllis, ask and see if your friend wants to come tomorrow for Throwback Thursday. Everyone go register, please. Brenda, I know you know lots of people.
It's going to be fun.
I know you have lots of customers. Invite them over. Give them that gifted code for one time. Just make sure they register. If they have trouble registering, just let me know and I will figure it out.
And if you know me, it's going to be fun.
All right. See you guys. I hope tomorrow. Bye-bye now.
Bye. Thank you, guys.
Bye.